What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, two-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter, well, he responds to undefeated three-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be #1 pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, in Terence "Bud" Crawford, who is 37 wins, no losses, no draws, 27 big wins by way of knockout. He's 33 years of age. He stands at 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. The two will do business and face off against one another November 20th. With that said, both guys will be 34 years of age by the time that takes place. Shawn Porter, 31 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws. He has 15 big wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age currently as it stands, 5'7" with a 69-inch arm reach. Shawn Porter will be 34 October 28th. Terence Crawford will be 34 September 2027. No, September 28th, October 27th for Shawn Porter. So with that said, Terence Crawford, he let it be known, he's going in the lab. It's time to prove a point. That was yesterday. After the fight was officially announced yesterday for November 20th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Mandalay Bay Arena, it's going down. So with that said, Shawn Porter, he responds to Terence Crawford, and he put up a workout video, himself working out on his social media, and he says, most people been asking me, when am I going to get into training camp since this fight have been announced? And Shawn Porter says, when have I not been in training camp? I never not been in training camp. And he put up 3 clips of him training, and he says, and Terence Crawford is going to find that out the hard way come November 20th, okay? Now, we know that Shawn Porter, he's been seeking out this fight for the better part of a year. Shawn Porter, he called out Terence Crawford back in August of 2020 when he fought Sebastian Famila officially. Everybody started calling for Terence Crawford to fight the upper echelon in the welterweight division. Since making his debut, he fought Jeff Horn for the WBO title. That was his first fight at 147. After he defeated Julius Ndongo for undisputed at 140, he moved up. He challenged Jeff Horn, which was initially supposed to be 8-division world champion, legendary, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny "Pac-Man" Pacquiao. But Pacquiao, in unforeseen measures, we didn't see unforeseen event. He lost to Jeff Horn in a fight that he truly didn't. Most people didn't feel like he lost the fight, but the most important people, the 3 judges sitting ringside, they thought Manny Pacquiao lost the fight to Jeff Horn, okay? So Jeff Horn became the champion. The plan was for Terence Crawford to become Manny Pacquiao's mandatory at 147 and force the fight on Manny Pacquiao. He had been seeking that fight out for years, okay? So with that said, his promoter, legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Bob Arum, he prevented the fight from happening. He's on record as saying he prevented the fight. He stated that, that Manny Pacquiao was a close friend. He didn't want to see him get hurt. He knew how the fight would end. And also, he wasn't willing to put up the necessary guaranteed purses for both guys because he didn't feel like it was worth it. So that's why the fight never materialized. But Terence Crawford is trying to put himself in position to be the mandatory for Manny Pacquiao. But Manny Pacquiao, he lost to Jeff Horn. So Terence Crawford made his debut at welterweight against Jeff Horn, in which he stopped Jeff Horn. Then he fought Jose Benavidez Jr. He stopped Jose Benavidez Jr. in the 11th, 12th round. Then he fought Amir King Khan on pay-per-view. It wasn't. It was a deflating situation where Amir Khan said they got hit with a low blow. He quit essentially in the fight. It was on pay-per-view. It only did 150,000 pay-per-views. It wasn't a success. Then he fought his mandatory challenger in WBO mandatory fight, undefeated, the Mean Machine, Igor Kavalauskas. He stopped Igor Kavalauskas in a fight that was tougher than most people expected, and he even unofficially got dropped in the fight. Then he fought against his most recent opponent was Kell Brook, who hadn't fought at welterweight in 3.5 years since getting stopped by Errol Spence Jr., who is Terence Crawford's rival and makes up for the other half of the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, who's the undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer and is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. So with that said, Errol Spence Jr. stopped Kell Brook 3.5 years ago. Prior to that, Gennady Triple G Golovkin had stopped Kell Brook. and that's the last time he was in a high-profile fight, okay? And then he moved up to 154, said he struggled to make 147, and for this fight with Terence Crawford, he moved back down to 147 after 3.5 years in November, and he gave Terence Crawford a little bit of resistance in the first couple of rounds of the fight, but ultimately Terence Crawford made an adjustment and stopped Kell Brook. So since then, the boxing world have been calling for Terence Crawford to face one of the upper echelon, one of the best welterweights in the world, whether that be Danny Garcia, 2-division world champion, obviously Errol Spence, former unified welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, or Shawn Porter, okay? These are the guys that the boxing world want to see Terence Crawford tested against. He got stoppages, 6 straight knockouts in his last 6 fights, okay? So he's proven that he definitely has power. We know his versatility, able to switch from southpaw to orthodox fluidly. We know that he's very rangy at 74-inch arm reach. We know he can fight in the pocket, mid-range, and on the outside. But you want to see him in there with the upper echelon, the best of the best. So everybody started to call for, if the Errol Spence fight is not going to come to fruition, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, we want to see Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford, okay? And so with that said, Shawn Porter, he stated that the fight started to materialize to him as well. He never thought about it because he and Terence Crawford are good friends. So he never truly thought about ever fighting Terence Crawford. And he stated that Terence Crawford was in a lower weight class. But around this time now, around that, last year, summertime, he stated that he started to think about the fight. The fans started to call for the fight. And he said it started to materialize to him. So he said that he called and contacted Terence Crawford. And he asked Terence Crawford, is this something that we can make happen? And Terence Crawford, he responded and told him, well, I have plans to fight. Obviously, it was Manny Pacquiao, in November. If that falls through, I'll revisit the possibility of facing you. So he never revisited that possibility. Obviously, that plan fell through because he ended up fighting Kell Brook. But we know his promoter, Bob Arum, is not too keen on making a fight with Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter, as he did an interview on Barbershop Conversations with Fred, and he stated that he would only give Shawn Porter $1 million, okay? He stated that he wasn't worth giving him no more than $1 million guaranteed money. So Shawn Porter, he said he'd understand his worth, and he wasn't going to, just take anything for a fight of this magnitude. Then Shawn Porter, he put himself in position to be the mandatory challenger for Terence Crawford for the WBO belt, like Terence Crawford was attempting to do with Manny Pacquiao. And he put himself in a position, and then everybody started speculating, why isn't Shawn Porter, putting in the paperwork to, let the WBO, World Boxing Organization, know that they want this fight, okay, that they're going to push for this fight. And we saw Virgil Ortiz Jr., rising Mexican superstar, welterweight title contender, fight Maurice Mighty Mo Hooker, who's a superstar boxer, but he was a WBO champion at junior welterweight, okay? He moved up to welterweight. Virgil Ortiz beat Maurice Hooker, and Shawn Porter, who was number 1, reversed spots, and Virgil Ortiz became number 1. And then the speculation got even thicker, okay? The whispers got even thicker. Shawn Porter don't want the fight. Shawn Porter is sitting back. He's sitting idle. Then Shawn Porter, he put out a post, and Shawn Porter on this post, he stated that the fans are hungry to see the best fight the best. Let's feed them. Let's give them that. The best need to fight the best. At Terence Crawford, at Top Rank, at Bob Arum. So Terence Crawford, he responded, and Terence Crawford, he stated, now you're testing me. Just sit idle, sit patiently, and I'll revisit the possibility. Now, Terence Crawford at that point in time was trying to secure a fight with Manny Pacquiao for June 5th, which Manny Pacquiao, he confirmed to me when Manny Pacquiao told me that he was looking to fight Terence Crawford in November, for sure, but the fight never materialized because of the pandemic. Then he was looking to fight Terence Crawford in June. They were in talks, deep talks, but the fight didn't materialize because an investment group in Abu Dhabi fell out, and Bob Arum stated that they could still make the fight happen, but they were unwilling to put up the necessary money. So Manny Pacquiao, he moved on. He then decided to fight Errol Spence Jr. We know the rest. Errol Spence got injured. Manny Pacquiao ended up fighting Yordenis Ugas, so on and so forth. The rest is history. Yordenis Ugas beats Manny Pacquiao, and now Yordenis Ugas is on top. Okay? This is a guy Shawn Porter beat Yordenis Ugas. So, with that said, that fight didn't materialize. But we heard nothing else from either guy. Then Shawn Porter on his podcast, he stated, well, maybe you know, I took the wrong approach in trying to make the fight happen. So maybe I got to just sit back. And then, unforeseen, the WBO came out and they ordered Terence Crawford to start to negotiate with Shawn Porter, gave him 30 days or was going to a purse bid in which Shawn Porter would receive 40%, Terence Crawford received 60%. So they began negotiations. It didn't come to fruition in the 30 days. September 2nd was the day the purse bid was supposed to happen. And according to the WBO, both camps decided to petition to get an extension. They granted him extension to September 14th. And they didn't make it to the September 14th date. Well, they did make it to September 14th date, but in the last hour, they came to an agreement and they agreed to the fight. So here we are today, and Shawn Porter, he responds to Terence Crawford saying that Terence Crawford needs, Shawn Porter should be ready. Shawn Porter responds and he says, I stay in the lab, I stay ready, and now you're going to feel me November 20th. And he puts up a workout video, which I can't put up because they prevented it. So you could go see the workout video on Shawn Porter's social media. But that's all I got for y'all. Can't wait till November 20th, see how this plays out. I believe you're going to get the best of both fighters because I believe that both fighters have a lot to prove in this situation. I think that Shawn Porter has to prove that he still belongs in the upper echelon conversation. He's lost all his big fights to Kell Brook, Errol Spence, and Keith Thurman. They're very, very close fights. He did have some big wins in his career, but he's been in the ring with the best. This is an opportunity for him to prove that he belongs. In Terence Crawford's case, it is similar for him to prove that he belongs, but this is a situation where Terence Crawford gets the opportunity to prove that he can compete with the upper echelon and prove that he deserved to be in that conversation of pound for pound, as he has admitted, and the boxing fans always point to his resume and say he hasn't fought the best opposition out there, and he's even admitted that these fights have eluded him. So here's a situation, an opportunity for Terence Crawford to prove and make a statement with Shawn Porter. So I believe you're going to get the best version of Shawn Porter and the best version of Terence Crawford. I can't wait. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.